Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's Leapfrog. Not sure there's a model number on this. People interested. Not too sure. It does say 6009 on the bottom, so if that's the model number, then there you go. But anyways, one of the pleasures you get as the person who fixes things around the house is when your kids decide to do something rather silly, like take one of their toys and throw it in a bathtub full of water. You see it turns on, but all you hear is a high-pitched squeal and the screen is blue, so hopefully it's not too damaged. What can I say? Kid's toy, right? Supposed to be doing more than what it's currently doing. But either way, we will take it apart and hopefully nothing's burned out and see what we can do to get this item back to function. Okay, so nothing looks too surprising yet, at least nothing extremely significantly wrong. I'm not seeing any traces on this this laminate pad right here, whatever you want to call this, that have been corroded, but you can definitely see all the water that's on it. So water in here, water in this foam pad here. And just exploring around the board, like I kind of got curious because if you notice, like the top flips, so you can kind of operate it like a tablet, quote tablet. But this is actually what determines by this hinge and the position of the hinge whether this the top part over here, this white piece, what position it is in. We function in either the tablet or the keyboard mode. You got just a little switch right here, to position, tactile switch. So obviously, depending on where this hinge is sitting, that switch is either going to be depressed or not. I was curious how that functioned, but if my assumption is correct, that is what controls or tells this little chip on board here the orientation of our screen. Nothing on here looks like it's corroded. I'm actually kind of glad that this is a chip on board. So it's got a epoxy or conformal coating over top of it, so it's well protected from the water. Because I imagine that's probably the method they wanted to use, given, you know, kids would potentially do something like this. But for now, what I'm going to do, and I'll have to address the screen after doing this part. For now, what I'm going to do is get all this dried up and see if, and then put it back together, and then do the same thing for the screen, and then we'll test it out and see if that will work. not much inside of it. It's kind of funny that the entire program seems to be, well, be on this side, on that one chip that's in there. But I mean, really, this is just a glorified Tamagotchi. Put in the case that allows you some additional touch entry functions and then selectable modes. There's probably an additional IC in here concerning the screen, I would think, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. But anyways, you can definitely see the water that got behind the screen here. So time to take the top part off now and get it cleaned up, and then we'll put batteries in and test it. Okay, I'm definitely eating my words a bit here. So most likely that chip on board is just managing your touch entry from that keyboard, and everything else, including the programming for the devices here on this PCB. And it's definitely got water on it. We're going to clean out all those connectors. We'll have to disassemble it some more. My biggest concern is this capacitive touch display right here. This is a touch display, and you can see that water's gotten behind. Well, maybe you can't tell, but I can definitely tell. Water's gotten behind the screen. So we may have to lift it up and get it cleaned out underneath there as well. But there's a tad bit of corrosion here on our power switch. Well, I get this underneath the microscope real quick. Okay, this should make it easier for everybody to see. But yeah, a little bit of corrosion right there on the on and off switch. But everything was a bit damp, but you just saw me dry it off a tad bit, including the crystal that we have there. Lots and lots and lots of capacitors. So hopefully there's no issue with any of them. And you know, we can just try out everything, get it cleaned up, and then test it. Otherwise, we're going to have to do a lot more troubleshooting on this board. I like how everything's nicely labeled on the PCB. That makes this a lot easier to work on if there are additional issues. And then we have one, what is this IC right here? I'll have to look that up real quick. Well, I couldn't find an exact match on the internet, but if you look up that 25VQ16 ASEG, I did see some links to a similar device on Twitter or something, although the LP number up top was different. But and then I did find something that said 25 BQ16 Charlie, but this appears to be the actual ROM, everything that's stored for the for programming this device. So there you have it. That's what that guy is. So hopefully it if you know how to dump these things, I imagine you do it through like a TTL or something. Not too entirely sure. Definitely not something that I would say is necessarily in my wheelhouse. I understand the principle of those things, but I've never done them before myself, to say the least. But anyhow, oh look, for those of you, if that's too washed out, there you go, any glare light. That's what I'm using my phone for, and then I can read those numbers better. But yeah, let me get this slightly more apart and start addressing the well, I'm going to clean that up first, and then take it apart some more, and hopefully get all the water out of here and get it all cleaned up and then put back together. Again, my primary concern is this capacitive touch display, and hopefully this is the only part that we've had corrosion and nothing else. Like these capacitors shorted and didn't go bad or anything like that. So yeah, quite a bit of cleaning, but you know, to be expected. Fortunately, most of the water seemed to be behind this plastic retainer here. Interesting to know, we have two more blob chips down here, or chip on boards, cobs is what they're called. We have a nice little LED panel, light panel, LEDs on this side, and light project across the panel for illuminating the back side of the screen. Oops, let me get this off of there. Have to get all that cleaned up, but yeah, it's wasn't in too bad a shape, so pretty happy that it wasn't. And should be able to clean it up nice. It's cleaned up pretty nicely. Should be able to just put it back together, and hopefully it works. We don't have to take it apart and do more troubleshooting. Well, it's all back together, and as you notice, I went ahead and removed the batteries because I noticed corrosion down here on their negative rail. I mean, the voltage had dropped a little bit, 1.4 instead of 1.5. Barring if they continue to corrode, you know, these could be good TV remote batteries. Good operative word. But anyways, let's turn it on and see if our cleaning and everything got this back working.
Hi, I'm Scout.
And
Hi. Let's play some music.
oh, it knows.
Press the paw button to pick a tune.
Okay. It knows we're on music, and that's working. So let's go through the buttons real quick.
Let's play the animal
Yeah,
dance.
my daughter came in to investigate. She heard that it was working. Well, 5 and 6 and D and E, KL, Q and R, X and Y seem to produce the same sounds. So let's see if this right here will take up something different.
With numbers.
It knows we selected numbers. Let's see.
Let's play. Press a letter button to learn about animals.
Here we go.
A baby cat is called a kitten.
Yeah, it's working.
Guess the
I knew we
animal.
took a cat. Let's try D.
Keep trying. Keep trying.
Oh, no. Let's go over to here.
Press a
It is working, baby.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let's see.
D says D. C says A. H says H. H. H.
Well, it looks like we still have an issue with the keyboard, but it is registering, so at minimum I gotta take the bottom back apart and readdress it a little bit more. Well, more than likely it's my fault for having to take this back apart. I didn't want to pull apart the layers on this whatever you call this. Simply because there's all this glue in between it as well. But it does appear that there is some water still between it, and maybe I just didn't get it dry enough. So I'm actually going to take it peel it apart this time and clean the water out and just check continuity around everything to make sure it's okay. Oddly enough, there's only 3 screws in this, and there's holes punched for 3 more, but they're not. I guess for whatever reason they decided not to put it in here. I mean, why? Why would you not? Is it just not necessary? Were you saving yourself all of a penny or something? But is what it is, I guess. So let me reattack this, and I'll take my voltmeter around it and just see what's going on. And hopefully none of these traces are bad, but most likely it's just water. I see quite a bit of water right here in this section. Down in here still, I didn't notice it earlier, but I do notice it now, so that's what I'll do. Unfortunately, my initial concern about taking this apart with the glue between the layers came true, as you can see right here up on the microscope. So when the glue peeled back, it also pulled up those little traces with it. And yeah, so I might be able to rebuild them. There's no telling. I can give it a shot, but I can't make a guarantee. Yeah, I'll try to give it a shot. No guarantee. But man, could have just left it with repeating buttons. My 2-year-old would not have cared. But you can see where they're stuck on the other side, right down there. Yeah, and then one little trace right here. You know, it's got a gap in it too. It peeled off and stuck to this side, right there. Why would you design this thing that way? Oh well. I'll do what I can. I'll probably use a conductive ink pen to see if I can rebuild those traces, and then throw a little bit of because this part right down in here where this folds over onto itself is not important. They don't have to touch like the pads on either side. So I'll probably put some Captain tape down over top of it after attempting to rebuild the traces, and then go from there. But again, there's no guarantee on this, so it is what it is. There's definitely water still in here, and that was probably the biggest issue. And then I made a bigger issue. But I'm not seeing any other traces on here that are bad at all, other than what I just caused. So it was most likely the water that was creating those duplicate entries between keys. You know, one key that was labeled A registering as A, and then the key below it still saying A when it was depressed. I'll give it a shot, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so it definitely took a while to work this. And I'm not incredibly sure how successful it will be, but we do have definitively continuity between here now. It's just at a much greater value than of resistance than what it would be if it was the original trace. So this may not, looks like I might have lifted that one. No, sorry, I was on the wrong one. This may not work out as I hope, but definitely worth a shot. So what I'm going to do is get some Kaplan tape down on it. And if this doesn't work, then we can potentially make one ourselves using an aluminum foil. But I am going to try this. We can recreate this membrane using aluminum foil, but I'm going to try to do everything possible to ensure that this works first. Okay, back together. Moment of truth, I guess.
Press a letter button.
Well, let me see if it works. I'm gonna have to turn my filters off. So hold on one second.
Press a letters. Switch to the number mode.
Okay, A.
A says A. B. C. D. E. F. G. Says H. I. J. Says K. Says L. M. N. O. P. Q. R.
That's the first letter of my name. Let's spell it. S.
T. U.
That's the first letter of my name. Let's spell it. V.
W. X. Y. Z. Says Z.
Z. Zebra.
Yeah. Is the pause button working? Let's do our numbers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All the numbers work. My pause button doesn't seem to work though.
Hi. Let's play. 1, A, B.
Oh no, it does.
1, 2, 3, A, B.
Hey, what do you know? I guess that worked, and man, I was actually kind of in my head. I'm actually very thankful that works. I do not want to have to build my own keyboard using aluminum foil, but you know, push comes to shove, if I had to, I would have, and you would have seen me struggle through that as well. So what is there to say? Let me turn my filters back on so I'm not blasting everybody here. What is there to say? I mean, this is amazing. This is I think my 2-year-old's gonna be very happy with this. Touch screen works, so we'll call it what it is. Yeah. Well, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this repair, I'm probably I don't know if it was entertaining for you. That membrane for the keyboard, that was a nightmare. But If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Things you would have done differently, etc. By all means, if you're willing to support, there are two ways to do that. One via direct donation through PayPal, link in the description, or if you want to support with receiving additional content, I do have a Patreon with specific content for my Patreon members, exclusive content that I do not release here on YouTube, and a lot of that's teaching electronics and test equipment. But that being said, hey, I appreciate the fact that you're here and you watched. Take care and goodbye.
Mark?